Welcome to the virtual bus tour of the Riverina, the Society of Precision Agriculture Australia and Riverina Local Land Services, through funding provided by the Australian Government's National Land Care Program, are developing a series of videos focusing on farmers and their precision ag activities.
I guess we had the technology at hand. We already had GPS for guidance in a boom spray way back in '96, so it just seemed logical to throw it in a header and see what we could see. The benefits are basically the whole farm can be a trial if we like, and it's quite quantifiable. So any treatments that we do to a paddock, we can obviously quantify it with yield because we've got everything's matched up. We know exactly what we put where. Yeah, we can quantify what response we've got just with our own machinery. Precision ag is, I guess, a tool that we can use to experiment with different things and evidence-based agriculture, work out what we need to do to fix things or what response we've had and what economic response we've had. So it's very handy. Yeah, we've seen an improvement in production. I've always said that if we could boost the bottom third of the paddock to at least the average, then the average improves quite significantly. So that's been our goal. We've been reasonably successful the last few years at achieving that. I guess the first thing, if you've got a yield monitor in your header, which most headers do, I guess turn it on and see what yield maps you've got. It's good to have a few years worth of data with a few different crops to sort of see how different crops respond to different soil types, because basically a yield map is basically you're mapping your soil type. And I guess then looking at the worst part of the paddock and seeing if there is a way of improving it. It may be that it might be a pH issue where it might just need variable rate lime application, or it could be soils that really don't perform unless they get a lot of rain or a lot of moisture, or for whatever reason that there is the variability. I guess it's worth exploring what you can do to address that, so that you're really only targeting inputs to a smaller area as opposed to a blanket area, and therefore costing you a lot more money to rectify something that perhaps in a better area doesn't need rectifying. So I guess the technology is there, it's just a matter of tapping in and using it. PA data, precision ag, that started back in '98 when we first got the first yield monitor in a header, and we already had a basic Trimble GPS system that we set up in the header then to yield map. I guess initially what we saw was the yield maps produced a pretty good soil map, and at the time the sand rises were lower yielding, the heavier soils were better yielding, and then of course you go into a drier year and the heavier soils weren't producing quite as good, and the sandier soils were still producing about the same. Nothing flash, but better than the heavier areas in a drought. Since that time then we mucked around we set up some trials and worked out that we could actually boost these sand rises by applying more fertiliser on them and also increasing the seeding rate. So control traffic farming, I think, is probably the biggest step forward that we've made. I know when we first looked at control traffic farming on these red sandy loam soils, red sandy loam compacts probably as good as anything. And any soil that's got a mixture of different particle sizes in it will compact. I actually did a little experiment looking at the edge of a paddock. This was back when we'd only just started. Basically looked at the edge of a paddock where a fence line was. A wheel would not have passed because obviously with an implement in front or behind, the wheels were a certain distance in from the edge of the paddock. So it'd be fair to say that first half of the paddock on that edge, as close as we were going to see to anything that was non-trafficked. We had barley in that particular paddock. Just before it was ripe, snapped off 1/2 metre of of head on each of the row, and worked out, as it turned out, there was, I think, about $130 a hectare. It was a pretty lean year that year. $130 a hectare gross margin on the outside, where there was no wheel traffic, and on the inside it was actually a negative gross margin of $20 a hectare. So it was a net improvement of $150 a hectare, which for that particular paddock worked out to about $20,000. If you took that assumption over the whole farm, it worked out to about $420,000. I answered my own question with enough of an incentive to warrant the change. I think with whatever you do, it's important to have organisation with other skills that you don't necessarily have. Not to mean that you're not good at it, but you get an accountant to do your accounting. I've got an agronomist to do my agronomy. I've got advisors for marketing. There's always hurdles that you need to jump over, so it's always handy to have somebody with a bit of prior knowledge or be able to source that knowledge to, I guess, help you overcome what issues that you face. I guess we can't take our foot off the throttle for too long. We've always got to be looking at ways of gaining efficiencies and improving the bottom line.
Precision Ag is bringing technology and innovation to the farmer and guiding you to farming success. To find out more about Precision Ag and its economic and environmental benefits, visit SPAA.com.au.